Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
which celebrity looks like they smell bad? 100% Post Malone. People wish he was Post Cologne. He actually said during an interview that he doesn't use deodorant or perfume because his natural smell is good enough. I met him this summer and jokingly said, "You smell like I pictured," and he laughed a lot and said, "Like fucking shit?" And I meant that he smelled like cigarettes. He laughed again and said, "No bro, I smell like shit." Harvey Weinstein, but he actually smells really bad according to reports. Like rotten flesh, poopish. He has Fournier's gangrene, basically his taint is rotting, so I wouldn't be surprised. Fournier's gangrene, my stepdad died of that. And yes, he stank to high heaven in his last few months. Wasn't his fault, and he was very hygienic. But when your colon is rotting you just stink. Really awful way to go. His last few weeks were spent in a medically induced coma and they had to amputate pretty much everything below the waist. When we'd go to visit him in the hospital you could smell him well outside his room. He was such a good dude, too. Really didn't deserve to go out like that. Don't forget his thigh balls. I didn't think there was a way to take everything I've found out about Harvey Weinstein, most of which, true to his brand, is against my will, and make it even worse. So thanks for that. I'm going to go vomit now. Bam Margera. Met him while I was working at a Walmart. Can confirm he had an odor to him. Was still very nice to me though. My dad worked on a cruise line where Steve-O worked as a clown before Jackass. My dad said he wouldn't do normal clown things. His big act was throwing himself off a 2-story balcony into a stack of chairs. When I met him he just reeked of alcohol. Like he bathed in whiskey. He probably did at one point. When I was a teenager, I bumped into Bam Margera at the Cop Mall just minutes after buying a Jackass the Movie DVD. Such a crazy coincidence. When I showed him, he yelled, "No way, this is available for purchase already." He was super nice and signed it for me. That being said, he definitely smelled of booze. Jared Leto looks like he uses his own sweat as cologne. He just tells his cult to wash his balls for him. I would not be the least bit surprised if he doesn't even let his cultists touch him because only Jared Leto knows how to touch Jared Leto. That motherfucker probably jerks off while staring at himself in the mirror. I worked with Jared Leto on a film set greater than 10 years ago. I can tell you, he smells fine but he was a horrible human being. He treated his personal assistant for the film like shit, was a entitled queen overall. Got a security guy fired because that guy laughed as Leto tripped out of his trailer while being drunk. He tried to pick up girls by saying, "Do you know who I am?" Jared Leto, quote, "So they would be impressed. Young girls of course. It was before it was public what a piece of shit he was. Overall everyone tried to stay away from him as much as possible. I was actually a fan before the shoot. I loved him in Requiem for a Dream." I see. So Jared doesn't smell like shit because all the stench was trapped inside his personality. There are a few Reddit threads from years and years ago before he was exposed about this same exact stuff. There are also groupies on there talking about all the STDs he willingly passes around and stuff. Totally crazy. He's definitely always seemed like the worst fucking person. I also loved him in Requiem though. He also was good in Girl, Interrupted. I've been in the same room with Cara Delevingne. Beau and cigarettes. Not surprising given the way she chain smokes. It's hard to find a candid picture of her where she isn't smoking. She smokes so she doesn't have to smell herself. I knew it! Exclamation mark. I scrolled way too far to see her name on this list. I believe you 100%. Cara Delevingne absolutely strikes me as someone who doesn't bathe properly. I've had to work with Cara Delevingne and I can attest she smells awful. She's also just really fucking weird. Not in a quirky way but in an almost psychotic way. Her house tour also freaks the shit out of me. I wouldn't step a single foot in her house. The first time I watched it I thought, okay, weird not me but good for her. But then, I watched it again after it was revealed during the Amber Heard trial this is where all the alleged Hollywood orgies happened. If you wanted a movie role you'd be there. Includes a ball pit and a room to play, dress up. Tons of trampolines with vaginas painted on them. A vagina tunnel, in which one of the ends is a washing machine. A room of only stripper poles and beds. Another room with Playboy bunny imagery, poker table and more poles. 4 separate fully stocked bars. Blurred out sex toys and BDSM toys out in the open. Mickey Rourke. There are actually stories about him being on set and smelling like ass and earring backs. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. Ass and earring backs skull. Kid Rock. He looks like he smells like he just smoked McDonald's. No neck Ed. Probably smells like mayonnaise. And boiled hot dogs. I live in the same city as him and have run into him in public before. Once he was alone and the other time he had his newish fiancée, Liz, with him. He is somehow greasier in person than on TV and does in fact have a weird odor. Like body odor, generic body odor. He's also a complete ass to staff and act like a spoiled child when he doesn't get what he wants. Once I saw him throw a fit that they didn't have his size shoes in stock. Then the poor girl asked him if he would be interested in trying kids' size shoes on. He lost his shit. What a jerk. Reality TV has produced some mobster douchebags. Next smegma. I have never hated a person over a 2-word sentence as much as I hate you right now.